Hello, bunkmates, and welcome back to another ranking video. That's it. And today we're going to be going over top 7 what ifs in Star Wars that I would like to see. Now, for those of you who are aware, there's a rumor going around that Star Wars might begin a what if series similar to the Marvel, where it's such as what if Captain America couldn't get the serum and it was Peggy Carter instead. Then what if Ultron got all the Infinity Stones, things like that. So I'm gonna be talking about the top 7 episodes that I would like them to cover if they were to do a sort of series like that. But now, I'm not going to be covering anything involving the novels, such as Star Wars Legacy, High Republic, things like that, because I haven't read much of those. I think I've read like one book, and that's it. And it's about the Master to Darth Sidious, or Emperor Palpatine, whatever he's called. Well, it's about that. And I'm also not covering the video games because there's that have like its own story and whatnot, because I'm not sure if those are canon, and 2, who I haven't watched. It's not watched. I haven't played Star Wars Jedi Survivor yet, even just because my PC is old and is struggling to run games. So, without further ado, here are my top 7. I know how math works. Alright, top 7. And what ifs I want in Star Wars. So, the first one is what if Mace have survived the fall? Anakin, with Anakin and Palpatine, where he is pushed out of the window of Palpatine's office. What if he has survived the fall? How would Order 66 affect him? How would he go about helping Obi-Wan and Yoda against the fight? And sort of if he would, would he survive and train Luke? There's so many possibilities that could be thereof if we'd see him leading up a rebellion and also help be the cause of that. That it could be really interesting to explore. The second one is what if Padme survived? So in the final in the end of episode 3, Padme of course dies after giving birth to Luke and Leia. I think it would be really interesting what if Padme had survived and in a time where the Empire was taking over, how different it would be if Luke and Leia were raised by her. It would be really cool to see. And then my third one, this was actually the one that I want most. I'm just going in no particular order, just the ones that I sort of come to mind. The third one is what if Anakin was trained by Qui-Gon instead of Obi-Wan? I have seen quite a few videos for this. Not seen, but I've seen like thumbnails of what if Qui-Gon training Anakin sort of thing. Like, it's a popular thing to wonder how different would things have been. Man, if Obi-Wan, who just sort of unwillingly took the child, Anakin, to be trained because he wanted to follow his master's wishes, instead of a master who actually wants to train him. And also, Obi-Wan is more close to the Jedi Order, whereas in following in their rules, whereas Qui-Gon, not so much. It's a bit more unconventional in that regard. I think it would have been interesting. Plus, we also would see Qui-Gon's reaction to Count Dooku being evil, as that was his master. So, it'll be really interesting to see how that works out. And then the fourth one is, what if Luke turned to the dark side? So instead of killing Emperor Palpatine and convincing Vader, hey, come back to the light, he instead joins Vader and Palpatine. And that would be a very interesting way to go about doing that. Doing that and seeing sort of the repercussions and see Leia and Luke fight against each other. It would be really interesting to see that. And number 5 is, what if Obi-Wan marries Satine? So, if you haven't seen Star Wars The Clone Wars series, Satine is a character that shows up there and was a past love interest of Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan says, if you had asked, I would have, left the Jedi Order and had a life with you. This sort of thing. So it could be interesting to see what would have happened if he actually had pursued that. As well. And then number 6, for those of you that don't know, this is based out for 6. What if members of Rogue One survived? Or if at least one of them did, because in Rogue One, all of them end up dying, none of them survive. I think it would be really interesting to see what happened if, Cassian survived, or Jyn Erso, I think, is a female character. I haven't seen Rogue One in such a long time. Kind of interesting to see if one of those characters has actually survived and continue the fighting. And number 7 is, what if Ezra has to come to the dark side? So in Rebels, Ezra and Maul sort of team up, and Maul mentions Ezra's master. They're sort of, oh, well, maybe I will turn him to the dark side and he'll become my apprentice, sort of thing. I think it would be interesting to see if Ezra had been turned by Darth Maul and been his apprentice, how the story would have panned out differently. It would have been real interesting to see. See that how he's finding his old master, or maybe even see him fight Obi-Wan, might even fight Luke. But it'd be real interesting to see how that pans out. And maybe Ezra becomes the Supreme Lord of the Stars. Who knows? But those are my top 7 what ifs I want to see in a Star Wars What If series. Let me know if you agree with any of these, if you're also interested in them, or if there's one I didn't mention that you're interested in seeing as well. Oh, but until next time, sleep well.